Okay, we are back with this third edition, because we had so many guests today and so many people come out. I'm so thankful that the show is catching on and people are awake and seeing what's going on. And I have to say, Daryl as a permanent host and Mighty Max as a permanent host, today was a very eventful day. What do you think? Yeah. But we're going to continue the discussion because Tay Wilder, Riverside resident, she's been here for a little bit. She's been in Moreno Valley, and she's been observing for a long time. And when she first retired and came into the area, she's trying to figure things out. I said, would you like to go to a comedy show? So we went on a little date, she's like, a comedy show? And, she thought I was going to take her to the Improv over at Ontario, So I said, you have to come to City Hall. And
you took me to City Hall?
Yes.
Romantic.
Yes, very romantic. And she saw all the shenanigans and what was going on. And Tay, could you please give us your honest assessment of Moreno Valley politics in general? Just in general, anything.
I actually I posted on Facebook after I went to the City Hall meeting. I said, cue the Benny Hill thing, because that's it was I was shocked. I mean, when I lived in Corona prior to moving out here, and I thought Corona was on something. Y'all don't even hold a single solid. No, y'all are. But it's not all. I love the passion that the residents have when they come to speak about Moreno Valley. I can appreciate that. I'm just kind of confused on how we got here. I guess because, Moreno Valley, I remember when it was Sunnymead. That was just me growing up. Right. It was Sunnymead, and then I come back and y'all are Moreno Valley, so I'm like, oh, okay, well, great. I just don't understand why there's such a huge divide in this city amongst the residents. I mean, it's...
A developer.
Well, I understand that, but my thing is this. I mean, if you take a step back and you look objectively out at what's going on, this city has issues.
Yes.
A lot of issues. And there are a lot of people doing good work out here trying to make this city better. And why those people are having tomatoes thrown at them, I will never understand. I don't go off rumor and speculation and all these other things. I like to meet people and talk to them personally,
right?
Myself, because that's how I'm an adult. I formulate my own opinions. So when I hear, from all these other, so and so and so and so and so and so, I could care less. I want to know specifically from those, and I've talked to Mr. George Price, I've talked to LaDonna Jemison, I've talked to
Denise Fleming! Denise! I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread! I'm Denise Fleming from Chicago!
We need
the original player from the Himalayas. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I've talked briefly to Miss Fleming, and I'm still waiting to have her get back with me. But
yikes!
Neither here nor there. I have talked on Facebook with Mr. Lowell and which Peden is running, because I'm confused.
Daryl.
I've talked to one of them.
But just say the twins. You get one.
The
you get
twins.
Yeah.
I've actually talked to both of them on Facebook. Okay, I think they're nice people. I mean, I don't really have anything to say about anybody personally. I've never talked to Mr. Molina.
Well, you're always cursing me out. I don't know what that's about.
That's because you deserve it.
Okay.
She is.
Hey, she's telling it. She's telling it like it is.
I try to make sure, even though I'm not a District 1 candidate, I still like to get, because in the end,
you're a resident.
I'm still a resident of Moreno Valley, and what happens in District 1 could impact what happens in District 3. So, I mean, I haven't talked to a lot of the school board residents outside of your secondary.
They're not really.
I can't remember, but I've talked to a lot of people. I've tried to talk to a lot of people because I want to know where people's positions are, because ultimately your position is going to, in some way, shape, or form, impact me as a resident. So I want to know.
Okay, I have a good question, and I'm going to give it to Millie Bailey first. school board, because Daryl's here, and I think it's very important that we talk about this. And Max, you're a young person who's in college, so let's talk some school crap. Daryl Terrell. Well, let me go to Max. I'm sorry, Millie.
Sure.
Evan Moron as a candidate. What is your take?
I believe that I have vetted the candidates, and I believe.
Well,
that,
you know Evan Moron. So,
I know him.
Okay, so what is your take? You don't have to throw him under the bus. Just as a candidate,
As
what do
a
you think this is
candidate,
about?
I think he should not be running for school board.
Why is that?
Based off of the things he said online and the bullying and the lawsuits and things that are going around and surrounding him.
The white envelope doesn't have anything to do with it either.
Oh, the pay. Oh, yeah, he's paid by Highland Fairview, so it's. We need people who aren't paid by Highland Fairview on our committee, and I see the best candidate sitting next to me.
Well,
So
they're in different heat, so.
I wish they weren't.
Yeah. But since we're on
Evan.
Highland Fairview candidates and we're talking about Daryl Terrell's area, Tiffany Alvarez.
Tiffany Alvarez, I don't know what her plans are for the school district.
Well,
but I
she
know
calls
has
herself
a
a
degree.
community organizer, and we know that's not true because Evan Moron and the other people of Highland Fairview, they do the organizing. I mean, she's there with them, and don't get me wrong, she's a college graduate. I'll give her that. Very nice young lady. I talked to her at the event last week, but she is a Highland Fairview employee. Would that affect your decision if you had to vote for her?
Yes, it does affect my decision with the Highland Fairview employees and those who have received money from Highland Fairview. It does affect my decision to vote
But
for
why?
them.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I'm against, I don't want to say I'm against him as a person, but I'm against the developer of this city right now, his ethics. And so I wouldn't trust the people that he would give money to because
Right,
his ethics will rub off on them.
Right, so you're saying that it seems to you, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but maybe I am, that he's placing these inexperienced Highland Fairview employees on the school board for something down the road?
Yes, that's what I'm visualizing something. He's planning something because there's way too many Highland Fairview employees running for all positions. In
Now, as a former
this election.
Highland Fairview employee, were you not promised to run? I mean, what made you decide to run for office? Because this is, to me, your Achilles heel, and I don't know if Kay would agree with me.
That is. my Achilles heel.
You formerly were a Highland Fairview employee, and then all of a sudden, you guys broke up.
And a
So-
lot of people think that it's because he didn't give me money or things like that. That's definitely not it. I woke up. I got alert. I got active. I did my homework, and I was embarrassed and ashamed of my actions for fighting from the wrong side.
Right.
Because once I did my homework and I learned that every idea that I thought to be true, like building up the community, putting money back into our schools, giving our police money, our firefighters, our teachers, it's just a dream, and it's a fabricated story because there was no real truth. Because I thought, as a developer, he can do all these things. He can build jobs. He can do all this.
No.
He can't.
Right.
And we were promised that he can, and he can't.
Right. He can't. There's no magic wand to do that. As a developer, with your developer, you just develop. You
A
promise jobs.
landlord.
Right. There's a thing on the Highland Fairview wall when I was in the office months ago, and it said 18,000 construction jobs. Now, if he promises 21,000 jobs, if most of that is construction, which is going to be people out of town, where are the jobs from Moreno Valley?
There are none.
Exactly. So, people, please do your homework. I'm not against the WLC. I'm just saying, do your homework.
I think a lot of people just want to be sold a dream. And
Right.
let's
That
just
was
be
it.
real. A lot of people want to be sold a dream, and no one wants, they will just believe anything that's on
Sounds
the
good.
internet, on a piece of paper, or on a flyer.
Right.
Nobody wants to take the time
To do research.
to do your research.
Because everything on the internet is real. That's
Well,
what
yeah,
some people think.
Abraham Lincoln
Some
said
people
that.
really
Everything on
think that.
Facebook is true.
And they make it hard to find facts.
All you got to do is go to News from Edgemont on Facebook, repost document.
And
Right,
P.
and-
Gordy, too.
MB Gordy is another good source.
And
Wake Up
you
Mobile.
have specific sources who do such things,
Right.
but the surface media, right, and what we see, the flyers and this,
Right.
that, and the third, it doesn't really. Even in the presidential campaign, we're not talking about the things that truly
Matter.
Matter.
and they make the difference.
Yes.
We're
Hey,
talking
I think
about-
that if you're a star, you have every right to take your tongue and shove it down any woman's throat.
Yes,
You-
grab
you-
her.
No, I'm joking.
Grab her. Grab her.
It's just crazy.
That's
It's
how
just
people
crazy.
get choked out.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just crazy because you're exactly right of how we're talking about stuff like that, and we
Right.
should
Why
be
are we
talking
worried
about.
about who he's grabbing? Why aren't we worried
We're
about
not worried about the
Well, I wouldn't
economy.
be
We're
worried
not worried
about
about.
who he's grabbing because that's going into rape culture.
Right.
But I mean,
He's admitting assault.
women, I mean, you're sitting here talking about you're forcibly grabbing women because you're okay
star.
you're a star. No, sir, absolutely not.
I was listening to an interview with him, and I know this is off topic, so we can get off.
No, go ahead.
I was listening to an interview with his campaign manager, and she was talking about the fact that she told him, we're gonna fight for the next 17 days because I believe you're gonna win. And what you just said, whatever he said, I didn't catch what he said. Sounds like you don't believe you're gonna win. And then she quoted him, and he said, "You're right, honey." And for me, I'm okay with these nicknames in the workplace, but for most people, you calling her honey while you're married is inappropriate. So, things like that are important, but again, I don't really know much that he wants to do with like his policies and his
Right.
plans and how he's going to make America great again because we're not the best that we've ever been or whatever the case
I'm
may
still
be.
trying to figure out what's so bad with America that we need to be great again.
I don't, and
Like,
where are we
if
going back to
if
being
we're going to
great?
the past. That's horrible. We were slaves. Is
Right.
that what it was great
what
again?
part of, where are we going? That's
I don't-
what
Right.
know.
Right, why are we going backwards?
Right.
And what you said about the rape culture, they haven't made it seem like he made any kind of derogatory terms towards rape.
No, it's
But
locker
they-
room talk.
and
Me and
that's
Daryl,
crazy
we
to
talk
me.
about that all the time,
Right.
right? When we're
That's
together at the locker
crazy.
room.
But that's
used
Nothing
still
wrong with that.
technically
See, you women are too damn sensitive. That's the problem.
When I was in the Air Force, I used to be a victim's advocate, and I used to.
Oh, I hate those guys because they had so much power. Ah.
I used to work with victims of sexual assault, both men and women. So when it comes down to anyone just reinforcing rape culture, it puts a stigma out to not just young impressionable 20-somethings, but also our children, our
Yes.
sons and our daughters about what's acceptable behavior. I used to teach. I used to facilitate this course with young airmen coming into the military, and I had one kid that, pardon my language, his dad used to call him Little MFer, and he said I literally thought that was my name for the first 10 years of my life.
Oh, wow.
I had another guy talk about his wife. He calls her, pardon my language, a cum dumpster. And she found that to be acceptable
Yikes.
Maybe
language.
in their bedroom?
No,
Just in general?
Wow.
But again, it goes into how we talk to one another, how we address one another, how we put forth language that we deem to be acceptable. And it goes into our morals, our values, and things like that. So if we turn around and say that grabbing a female by X, Y, and Z is perfectly acceptable, we've taken a huge step back in humanity.
And I think it's crazy that he's speaking like that, and at the same time we have all of these high-profile cases of young white men getting away, I like to call it, getting away with these slaps on the wrist of raping young girls behind trash cans or, whatever.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
That's scary to me.
The Nate with the new movie that just came out, The Birth of a Nation, how he's been in multiple movies, but not until he directed and starred in his own movie that talked about revolution.
Oh, yeah, when he was promoting the
race.
movie, they keep bringing up
They wanna
he
bring
was
up that
accused of, in college.
and he was
rape.
acquitted of that because that was...
But see that's the stigma that happens when a black man starts becoming successful.
Right.
Because, like I said, in this
So
campaign for me.
But I mean, with Roman Polanski and
Oh no, that doesn't matter.
With-
that doesn't
with
matter.
Woody Allen,
Yeah.
people still flock to theaters.
Oh, of
to go
course.
see
Oh,
his
right.
movie. Now, I'm not going to say Birth of a Nation was 100% true to Nate Turner's story
Yeah.
because it
Right.
wasn't.
Right.
It
It's
was
a
because
movie.
his
It's a movie.
mother
Right.
was a huge, huge motivational factor for him. But I don't condone how they drag this man
through the mud.
But then again, I don't condone the way he conducted himself when it came down to talking about it, because in that one night, lives were changed. And you have to have a certain level of empathy, not just for the other people involved, but for that woman, because she ended her life over it. So something about that night, something happened that triggered something so horrific that she ultimately took her life and left her son motherless. So, I don't know.
Daryl, do you have a feeling that this is becoming the View? Yeah. We're sitting here like, let's talk about those Cowboys.
Broncos.
So Broncos, the Tigers.
So
Broncos.
but this is what we love. This is what the show is about. It's about people coming out and conversating and exchanging of ideas. And it doesn't matter what you want to talk about. We can talk about anything you need to talk about, because people do not communicate the way that they should, and we can't have a grown conversation. And I got to say that thank you, Tay, for coming out, because she brings a more mature level.
That's because I'm old.
Well,
No,
you're not
you're
that
not.
old. Just because you got a few
She look good, though.
just because you got a few grays doesn't mean anything. So, Mr. Terrell, I'm going to have to ask you this real quick. We're in the final stretches of the campaign. What is your message to the voters as people are voting right now? They're going to the registrar and voting, and you got your signs out there. I saw your signs. Awesome. What's your final message as you want to get out there?
Well, my final message is this. If you're satisfied with the status quo, if you're satisfied how your kids are being prepared for the jobs of today and tomorrow, then you could go with the establishment candidate. But if you want real change, you want someone who can be fighting for your kids, someone who's gonna stop this getting by education, get enough just to graduate, but not enough to get a decent job, or not only to enroll in college, but to graduate, then you have a candidate in me. And so I tell the parents out there that you're going to have someone that's going to persevere, someone that's going to think outside of the box, someone who's not a rubber stamp, someone who's an independent thinker. Then you have a candidate. You have someone that's going to inspire our young people, that even if they fall down, they can get up, because they got someone to me who lived that example. So I tell the parents and the kids out there and anyone else who's listening that even though I was endorsed by the teachers, one thing you're going to hear from me is perseverance. And you're going to have someone who's going to fight for your kids so they can have a chance to live the American dream. And that's in me, Daryl Terrell. So again, I hope you guys just pray for me, and continue to follow me on Facebook at Daryl Terrell for MBUSD
Area 2.
School Board Trustee Area 2.
Right. Now, Tay, what is your take on some of the candidates we have here today? What is your take? And we were talking about mental illness.
So you want me to put the folks on blast?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, like, were you impressed with some of the candidates that came out today? Or
Oh yeah. I mean, I really like Dr. Thin. I think not just because she's Air Force retiree or whatever,
woman,
and because she is an educated woman. No, I think she has great ideas. I think she's a smart woman. I talking with her, I really feel a warm and fuzzy, if you will, that she will do a lot of good for Moreno Valley. George Price, talking with him personally, I think he's a great person. I think he has a lot of experience within the city.
A lot of connections.
I don't see where people are calling him, saying that he's getting money from the city. I don't think people understand.
Who isn't getting money?
I don't think people understand what a pension is.
Versus,
But okay.
Yeah.
I think he's.
That's like you being entitled because you're getting a military pension. You're
I am
entitled.
entitled.
Yes, exactly. Entitlement. How dare you?
On the
Dare
first,
to
I'm
get
very
out.
grateful,
Yes.
and I'm
Me too.
entitled every
Me
first
too.
and 15th. So I'm happy.
Yes.
How dare you be entitled to something you earned?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Exactly.
Talking with George Price, I think he's, I like the experience. I like the knowledge that he has within the city. I like the fact that he's one of few people paying the overpayment back.
Right.
I did clock that he was paying the money back voluntarily, unlike a couple of others.
Well, others can't afford to pay it back. That's a lot
I
of
don't
money.
see how, when you were getting over You know what?
Yes.
Okay.
Let it go, let God.
There we go. There we
Let
go.
it go, let God.
I'm just saying
Yes.
this.
Woosah.
When I check, my paycheck is regular, so I know what I'm taking home every single time. The minute I see a number that is up one or down one, I'm on the phone trying to figure out who, what, when, where, and
Yes.
how. Only because I know when you get overpaid, DFAST will
Yes.
come back with a swiftness and
Swift.
take it all out and leave you with a nickel.
That's it. And here's a meal card. Go to the chow hall and go get something to eat.
So I still don't fully understand this whole overpayment issue. I don't see how it went on for so long when, people get pay statements and they check their bank accounts.
Most people
Most people know what they're getting paid.
Yeah, they get the extra, they gonna take it.
Well, usually when it's extra, you don't say nothing. But when it's under, you're on the
don't say
phone.
something.
You're on the phone. I didn't get paid.
Oh, it's
30,
over.
I'm 35 cents
35.
short.
That's a blessing if it's a little
Right.
over. I ain't calling nobody.
But I still want to know where my, if
Yeah.
it's an overpayment, especially a
Why?
constant overpayment, I want to know why.
Why? So you don't have to pay that.
I don't.
Am I doing such a good job?
I just don't see how it went on for so long, and then it was, so we have to pay this back. And I don't think they're forced to pay it back. I
No,
think it's
they're
like
not.
in good faith.
Yes.
So the fact that only 2 people are actually out there making payments,
Right.
Ms. Jimson and Mr. Price, are actually out there paying it back, I applaud them for actually having the integrity to do so, where I kind of question others when it
Okay.
comes down, because it was what, 8 people?
Yeah. No. Yeah. On the council, it was 4. I think it was four people on the council. No, it was all the council had overpayments. But
I have a question.
okay.
So we've heard from Millie,
Yes.
and we've heard from Daryl, but we haven't heard.
You guys have
your
been hearing from me.
statement
Yes.
about what you feel
Donovan
that
City.
you need to share with the people
Okay.
as we are headed in to the polls.
Tell me, how do you see, what do you want to bring to District 1 as the council person?
Well, first of all, that's a very good question. But I don't want to sound too
What are you
too
bringing
canned.
to the table?
Okay,
Let's
well-
talk to the people.
Let's talk to the people. Like I said, I don't want to sound canned. Everybody knows my biggest problem, and I've been told, is my delivery because I keep it too real. Okay, but my passion is what drives me, and people like my passion and what I'm doing because I do what I say and I say what I do. What I want to bring is, like I said at the forum on Sunday, you got all these people up here that are running, but nobody's talking about solving problems. And where I live, and one of the main questions people always ask me is this: how the hell can we get you out of politics? Because I'm causing nothing but trouble. So I said, well, look, if you look at Edgemont compared to the rest of the city, and I live in Edgemont, would you not agree that I have a legitimate beef to be upset? I mean, for 15, 20 plus years, and this is what I found when I checked out the ledger, that they've taken my tax dollars, my property tax, and have used it for the benefit of District 2, District 3, and District 4. Now, technically, I don't live in the real Edgemont. I live in the newer part of Edgemont. So I'm not on the Box Springs water line. I'm on Eastern Municipal. So since being here since 1977, my area was like really the first like modern when the city started growing, but it wasn't a city yet. So we're still in the city thing. So if you go to the city engineer, there's a map in there. And I am in the Edgemont zone, even though I'm not in the real Edgemont. And because I'm in that zone, and you're a city employee who doesn't live in Moreno Valley, and you don't understand Moreno Valley, when you hear Edgemont, what's the first thing you think of?
Hood.
The real Edgemont, the poor, disadvantaged, different world Edgemont. So
Sidewalks.
unofficially, there is a stigma in there that anything that was in Edgemont, you can't do nothing over there. Oh, we can't do it. They have a water problem. My area doesn't have a water problem. You're talking about over 400 houses that does not have a water problem. So when I came back and after I retired, I said, why the hell are my streets looking like this? What the hell's going on? Whatever. So I go and looked at it and I said, well, here's the escrow account. There is no escrow account because by law, you cannot take property tax and use it for the benefit of the rest of the city. I mean, you can do it,
That's not
but
legal.
until the repairs could be made, it should have been put in the escrow account. So when I went in to complain, guess what? I'm going to get a slurry seal on my thing. And they told me that straight out. The only reason we're doing this is because you're complaining. Wow. That's very sad. But what I want to do is I want to solve the problems. Now, here is the biggest thing. everybody says, oh, well, Donovan's going to go in there and he wants to public domain the water company. Okay. If we go back 10 years ago, the water problem was $8 million to solve. Right now, we're looking at $31 million. How much longer are we going to kick this problem down the road? Because it's not getting any better, and there's a problem going on there right now. Now, the people that have shares, because I don't live in the rural Edgemont, so I don't have shares. How much is their shares worth right now? That thing is on one pump right now. That thing is almost 100 years old. Those shares aren't worth any money. Now, if that thing actually breaks and it's done, the city's going to have to step in.
Yeah.
They're going to have to. Do we have $32 million to give to the people in Edgemont?
We don't have enough people for a police force.
Exactly.
So
So when I met with Miss Jimson, as I was the ghost shadow councilman running the district, telling her what she needed to do, I said, you have to address this problem. You have to get it fixed. And there's a way you can do it. You can public domain it, but there's different tiers of public domain. But they don't want to do it. And me and Miss Jimson talked about it, and she didn't know what I was talking about, but she knew what I was talking about because I showed it to her. And she goes, well, that's very unpopular. People don't want to do it. Everybody listening to this, I don't care if you're on the east side of the city or not. If the Box Springs Water Company breaks, they're on one pump left. You will have no choice but to go in there and use your tax dollars, $32 million, to fix it. And we don't have that money. And right now, it's a humanitarian problem right now. You can go in, the city can go in right now on a humanitarian basis, because this is no different than Flint, because they're mixing the water from Western Municipal. So if a public entity, a private company, isn't doing what it said it's going to do, provide clean water, which is a human right, don't you think the city has an obligation to its residents to step in and fix that problem? So I'm there to solve problems and fix them, and I've done that. I've done $280,000 in water repair, street repairs. That Jesse Molina agreed. He said, Edgemont, it's about time. We got to start doing this. We're having a high-tech school that was finally knocked down, Edgemont Elementary. Okay, you got a high-tech school. Where are the damn sidewalks? So we're going to have kids walking in the mud going to a high-tech school. We do not think these things out because we keep electing our friends that don't know what they're doing. And I'm going to tell you, I worked with Miss Jimson for 2 years. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything like that. This is not high school government, people. What these people decide affects people's lives.
Right.
This lady does not know what she's doing. And I'm going to tell you about the establishment. If there's a better candidate, if I thought there was a better candidate running in my district, I wouldn't be running. And the mere fact that this lady, and I don't care what she did 32 years ago. If you're a bank robber, you're a bank robber. Good for you. Okay? But it does affect what you're doing today. I don't want a former bank robber over my tax dollars.
Right.
I just don't want to do it. So what I'm saying is, she's an HR person, that's great. Now, I have experience as an operations officer, which is like a city manager. So when I go to Ahmad and the city staff, who really runs this city, because all councilmen are figureheads, I know when he shows me the blueprints of what's going on, I understand what he's talking about because I've done it at airports, because airports are like small cities. They have everything that a city has. You could look at Miss Jimson, she does not know what she's doing. For 2 years, she cannot articulate one thing that she has done of her own volition. Now, I articulate and mediate between the city and the water company. Well, you are the city. You're the representative. What have you solved? Nothing. Anybody could do that. Victoria Baca did it, and it cost us $30,000. What was solved? Nothing. We had no crosswalks in the Edgemont area. It doesn't take a genius to go to Edgemont. Anybody, Max could go down there and say, this place is jacked up. Where are your sidewalks? Where's your crosswalks? Where's the city cameras? But Miss Jimson's going to sit here and tell us, I sit here and I wait for the residents to tell me what I need to do. That is the most asinine answer I've ever heard. And I'm telling you, I've worked with her for 2 years, and yeah, I sound mad because it's ridiculous. It doesn't take a genius to solve these little problems, because these little problems eventually become big problems. Right. And the one thing that I'm on right now is helping solve that Box Springs water thing. And I've already proven I'm solving problems. I've started this radio show. I've got the video show. And, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but I started this because these people were not being held accountable for what they're doing. And now the light is on them. And here you have this representative that has been sitting on that seat for 2 years, and she cannot say one thing that she's accomplished in 2 years. It's a damn shame. And that's why I'm running. And that's what I want to do. I'm a problem solver.
Solve them problems, baby.
There you go. There you go. And I'll take a few vacations here and there. So, sorry to be so upset. It just upsets me.
You're very passionate.
Very, very, very passionate. Yes. And once I solve these problems real quick, I'm done. I'm not a
Politics for life.
I'm not a politician. I'm just like you. If you're listening to me and you're saying, God, this guy's going off and he's crazy, I am just like you. I have a vested interest because I live in Edgemont. I'm the only candidate that lives in the poorest part of the city, and I live there by choice. I don't want to run. It's easy for me to go live on the east side. Thank God I didn't, because they're building a warehouse over there. But I can't leave my people in the condition that they are. This event that we went to Sunday, which is the La Familia voters thing, out of all the events that as candidates we've gone to this year, even I put an event on. The most important to me was that one I went to Sunday. No, my Espanol is very poquito. But it was so important to me because my area where I live is mostly Latino. And it's important that I go there and say, hey, I'm here. And I'm solving the problems, and they know that. And that's what I'm about.
So, did our mayor show up?
Our mayor did not show up. But I'll tell you, but that's not unusual. But here's somebody I want you to know that didn't show up, and she keeps saying that. Denise Fleming! Denise Fleming! I'm for the people! But she did not show up. In the district that she lives in. That's a damn shame. But wait. She did send her husband when it was over.
But is her husband running?
No, he's
Did
not
she
running.
have a prior?
So she didn't show.
She didn't show.
Did she have a prior engagement that was linked to her?
What is more important? What is more important than the people of District 1 that you're going to need to be the mayor?
Have pressing matters, and I understand that. I can respect.
Well, if you remember the blog, I wasn't even invited. That's why I was bitching and moaning.
That's why I said just show up.
Right, exactly. But the point is, she was on the flyer. George Price sent a surrogate. Now, again, she didn't show up.
Yeah, Mr. Price had, I think, another engagement.
Yeah, he had another engagement, whatever the deal is. But there's no excuse for that. You're running for mayor. And everybody says, well, what is this between you and Denise Fleming? Okay, look, I don't know the lady like that, but I do know ethics, and I do know a person of, everybody has their bias. Like I said, I can't believe people don't like me. That's incredible.
Right, because you my favorite, baby.
Yeah. Yes, you know what I mean? I'm a nice guy.
Too saucy.
Yeah, I'm too spicy. But and I understand that. But I do not think Denise Fleming is an ethical candidate, and I've proven that months and months and months over time. And as a voter voting for mayor, I, Donovan Sadiq, would not vote for her. Now, if anybody wants else to vote for her, you guys go right on ahead.
No, I'm good.
I just died.
I get my warm and fuzzies from people.
Yeah.
And
Well, you were there at that one debate. And what did you think? Oh, girl, look, I'm in the Navy, too. Oh, we got to talk after the thing. See me after the thing. Have you seen her yet?
No, I waited for 20 minutes.
Right, and you're still waiting for a response from her.
And who swooped in was Dr. Then, who came in and was like, hey, how you doing? Where you going? Where you been? You had a question, blah, 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 blah. Mr. Price was like, hey, how you doing? Where you going? Where you been? What's going on? What's the problem? What you need? And I appreciate that. I approach it. My whole thing is, if I can't approach you, if you're going to be on my city council, you're a public servant. If you're going to be my mayor, then you need to be approachable in every way, shape, or form.
I'm still waiting for Dr. Gutierrez to meet with me about that lady with the hole in the roof.
He still blocked me on Facebook. So.
There you go.
And I still got the screenshots. So I got the receipts, Mr. Gutierrez, Dr. Gutierrez. I'm still waiting on my question to be answered, but whatever.
Right. But that's what we're dealing with.
But no, it's a level of maturity that needs to happen, especially if you're going to be if you're going to be figureheads of the city. I just don't agree with anyone, and I will not use this wonderful, wonderful thing called My Vote on anyone that blocks people from social media because it's not a question that you deem appropriate or that you deem worthy of answering, or you have your team filtering out questions because it's not something that you want to answer, or you don't show up to things because
Not
it's
one
beneath you.
forum has he shown up to.
And it's not just Dr. Goods. It's not
Victoria
just,
Baca didn't show up.
I'm not even gonna go there with these Bacas. I'm just not. No. I just don't. Social media is there for. It's called social media for a reason. You're supposed to be social on the stupid thing. So being blocked by our mayor for asking, he said something about he's getting money, and I said, "Oh, what are you gonna do with this money? Are you gonna go out here and meet people? What are you gonna do?" Blocked, deleted, and blocked.
For that?
Great. Awesome, sir.
That's not okay.
No, I'm just saying. I know that Mr. Lowell did the same thing with some people.
I'm not getting money from Highland Fairview. No, that's not true at all.
Let me check the 460s.
And the
There it is.
460 show.
It's an integrity thing that I think
5,000.
that seems to be lacking across with some candidates. And while I respect Daryl Peden, that's the one that's running,
Yes,
right?
Daryl's-
I don't. He's not He's not communicating his platform. His brother's doing all the speaking for him. I don't want to hear from, and that's great. If they're a tag team, high five duo, whatever, Wonder Twins activate, great. But I don't want your brother to be a mouthpiece. I want to hear from the candidate. I don't want to text you. I don't want to call you. I don't want to FaceTime you. I want to be able to come to you directly as a citizen, as a constituent, as a voter. And if you have a barrier, if you have a guard dog in between me and you, I don't have no time for it. I really don't, because that means you don't respect me as a person, as someone who's going to go out here to the polls here in 2 weeks. And I don't feel that. I don't get a warm and fuzzy from a lot of people. Denise Fleming is one of them. The Pedens, I can't get with the brother always being the mouthpiece. And then these long Facebook posts and
Right, Donovan Sadiq going off on the radio and all kind of.
No, it's just I want someone that's relatable. And unfortunately,
We don't have that.
If I hear, and I told you this was going to be a drinking game. If I hear public policy one more time, I'm going to scream. Because that's great. You went to UCR, you graduated, that's great. But what are you going to do for me?
Dr. Flynn, I'm going to bring everybody together. And those pools. We got to have pools. There are not enough pools.
Like to swim?
That's what's important. Pools.
But it's the fact that I can't relate to
That-
the Pedens at all, because they're not direct, and it's this, look at my link, look at this video, do this, do this. I don't want to do all. Just answer the damn question. That's all I ask.
Well, speaking of another candidate, Mildred Millie Bailey,
Yes.
you are going against Dave Marquez. Now, the question a lot of people have been asking, and I wrote it down earlier, is they don't understand what he's running on.
I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, bashing or mudslinging, but he's running off of his name. He's running off of cleaning up trash.
And by the way, he's a good friend of mine, but go ahead.
He's a great guy. I'm
Yeah.
not bashing him as a person, but he's as a councilman, he has no platform. He has no initiatives, no ideas to make our district better. The only thing I can say about him is that he wants to beautify Moreno Valley, but everybody wants to beautify Moreno Valley. What about our public security, our home security, our jobs?
Well, he has talked about
Yeah,
that.
public safety. He has talked about public safety.
His public safety, he has talked in
He's
depth about his
spoken
public.
about it, but he hasn't spoken about a solution. He hasn't he has no solutions to anything. He just lists the problems. And with me, I differentiate myself from him because I actually come up with solutions, not just name the problems, because that's not helping. Anybody can name all the problems, but name a solution, like the World Logistics Center. We can name all the problems, but let's name some solutions to fix it, because it's already here.
Right.
He can't name anything. He wasn't even a part of that fight.
Well, I liked what he said at the forum when he said, well, how do you get your information? He was like,
Yeah.
rumors? I thought that was funny. I did. It shows personality.
I
Yeah.
can appreciate a sense of humor.
Yeah, sense of humor.
He's
But,
he's
you know,
a great guy,
yeah.
but I don't think he's qualified to be a councilman. of
So
District
what's
35.
going to make you different than him?
I have a real vision, initiatives that are going to work, that are going to build unification
Name me
between.
3 of your solutions.
I have my BOLO Act to be on the lookout initiative, so the residents can get united by helping one another. It's no more YOLO, it's BOLO. And then we have the OS initiative. I want to work with the school board because we need to be one unit. It can't be the city and the school because we need to work together. My OS, occupational shadowing initiative, I can work with the school board. We work with occupations from all sorts of life, not just burger flipping or warehousing or logistics. We work with doctors, nurses. We have a lot of mentors that allow the youth to shadow them. That's another one. And I have the idling initiative. It's to build a truck stop in Moreno Valley, something where it's supposed to be built. Let me say that too.
Where is that at?
In Edgemont, unfortunately.
Why
It's
is everybody
already zoned.
dumping in Edgemont? Why?
That's what it was zoned
Because
for.
it's in
This
the
was
best
not a
location.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was
we
not
know
a
that,
good plant.
right.
This was
Right,
not
but
a
how are
good
you going to
plant
do that
city.
when people have homes there in Edgemont? And I'm speaking because I'm an Edgemont resident, and that's one of the questions my neighbors would want to know. Where are you going to put a truck
We need
stop
to put
that's
a truck
owned
stop
by?
a distance away from the neighborhoods. We don't want the idling smoke to be.
But
affecting our
Edgemont goes
kids.
all the way to the frontage.
Frontage. The old 215 frontage way would be a perfect area. It's
But that
ostracized
land is
away
still
from
owned
it.
by somebody there. There's property all the way to that frontage.
We need to make ourselves more available to different developers because if that land was available, that would be perfect for a truck stop.
Right, but if it's owned by somebody, how are you going to do that?
We have to try to woo him or her or whoever owns that. We have to get that
Right,
before we
or
build this
you can also
WLC.
look at since Riverside is putting warehouses where it's supposed to be along the 215, see if they're going to do a truck stop and
I
go
looked
into a
into-
joint venture with them.
Unfortunately, they want to take everything.
So what?
They've taken over our city already. Riverside is our big brother. And big
Don't
sister. They take all our
don't
money.
believe that.
What
That's
money?
Highland Fairview crap. I mean, seriously, don't believe that. That is not true, because if that was the case, they would have never let us incorporate as a city. So that's not true. And that's garbage
true
that
that
comes
they
from
take all
people
the money.
who are not originally from this area that talk all this crap. Say, oh, the Riverside's against us. Why would they be against us? For what benefit?
They're not against us, but they take a lot of our funds.
Well, that's because it was allowed, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was because we had bad leadership
Exactly.
that
I
decided
think-
to do that to us.
To be honest, I really think that Moreno Valley really needs to. People need to be able to work, play, and live in the city to which they pay their taxes.
That's true.
Yeah.
not
And
enough
unfortunately, there isn't enough here. There really isn't
Right.
enough here. So I would really hope that whomever is elected, our future council people, would take into account that people have children they're being raised here, and we need things to do with we need a safe place for our children to go.
Well, with all these trucks running around, it ain't here.
We also need a place to turn up. So if anybody is listening
Wait a minute,
and
wait.
they want to put a legit club,
Wait a minute. I got an answer for you.
Don't you say
We-
status?
yes.
No, not
So we got
status.
club
Yes.
status.
Let
That's
me
our
tell you
That's
how
not the
other
lounge.
It's
Status. If you were
let me
there,
tell you,
that was
status is still too small. I'm
Okay.
talking about legit.
Legit.
I'm talking about like, dang, I can't wait to go to Moval
right.
tonight.
Well, here's the
Turn
problem.
up.
Well, here's the problem. We have a lot of implants here that come with their guns and their other things,
Yes.
and that is why
We stop a
we
lot of-
stopped doing a lot of that, because we had a lot of shootings and things that
Well,
were going
we
on.
had a police force.
Yes, if we
That's
had
true.
more
We do
public
have a
safety.
police
Because
force.
I have a little taser down here in my
yes.
purse.
Me
Absolutely.
too.
Because I'm
Right
a
in front.
female and
Gotta stay
I
ready.
run around the city, so
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why we don't have stuff like that, because we don't know how to act.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
You know, young people, and it's unfortunate that
Because-
we have to drive all the way out of the thing.
We have to go to all the way to LA sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
I know
well,
Sevilla's
well,
is there, but who
well,
really
I'm going to be
wants
a
to go to Sevilla's?
advocate. We didn't need all that back in the day when I was a young troop. You want to know why?
You guys
you
had
wanted
the base.
you could go to the base NCO club,
So we
and
don't
kick it
have
up.
it.
This is like we don't have the base no more.
But you know, it's kind of sad because I'm like, okay, so as a 38-year-old single woman, I want to go out with my girlfriends
Right.
and spend some of my hard-earned cash within my city.
Yeah.
But I have to go shopping. You know, I have to go shopping at Victoria Gardens because it's a beautiful outdoor space. I have to go, you know,
Riverside
Burlington is
Plaza.
right here.
girl, bye.
You got a Riverside
You got
Plaza.
the Rio Rancho?
I gotta go to Riverside for
Oh,
stuff.
Rio Rancho.
Our Best Buy, the
Right.
only, we have Target, but our Best Buy is closed.
When you have a bunch of warehouses, all you're going to get is 99-cent stores, super Walmarts, dollar stores, and
Now,
there
let
it
me tell you
is.
something. I can find some good values at a 99 cents.
I love 99-cent stores, but they're not paying enough. They're not giving insurance, so they're.
All right. I got
That's
that. We're going to leave it right there. This is the Hot Seat Radio Show. Thank you. Listening next week.